That is the real sound of a Ferrari, a V8 engine Ferrari, screaming on the road like a real monster. Sadly, that might be the last V8 Ferrari we might ever actually get to witness. So what actually happened? Why don't we see more V8 Ferrari? Where did it go, and what did Ferrari replace it with? Ferrari had announced earlier that they were going to discontinue this V8 engine, and when fans found out, they were not happy. They were not happy at all. Ferrari had built their entire identity around that V8 engine. The sound, the feeling, all of Ferrari's glory lived inside that V8 engine. And in 2021, quietly with no farewell, Ferrari discontinued the F8 Tributo, the last mid-engine V8 Ferrari. It was gone just like that. And what came next was something nobody saw coming. Ferrari replaced it with a V6 engine, a hybrid V6. Let that sink in for a moment. A V6 in a Ferrari. The comment section exploded overnight. People say this is not Ferrari. This is a Toyota with a Ferrari badge. Enzo is rolling in his grave. People were furious. But why? Why were people so unhappy with the V6? What was so bad about it that it received so much hatred? To understand that, you have to go back, all the way back to the 1960s, to a decision Enzo Ferrari made that tells you everything. Enzo wanted to build a smaller car, more affordable, more accessible. It was a good idea, but there was a problem. The engine he wanted to use was a V6, and Enzo Ferrari personally believed that a V6 was not worthy of the Ferrari name. So the car got a different name entirely. He called it the Dino. Dino is his son. So Ferrari badge was not put in this particular car. No Ferrari name in the marketing either. It was just Dino. Because the man who built Ferrari believed that putting a Ferrari name on a V6 engine was not worth it. Now, let's get back to today. That belief that a V6 does not belong in a Ferrari never really went away. It lived in the culture. It lived in the fan base. So when Ferrari announced the V6 in 2021, fans were not happy. They were not just reacting to an engine. They were reacting to an history, to everything Enzo stood for. That is why the hatred was so loud. That is why it felt so personal. But here's the part that makes this story interesting. Ferrari did it anyway. They built the V6 hybrid, and they had a very specific reason as to why they had to do it. Here is something that people forget about Ferrari. Ferrari is not just a car company. It is a publicly traded business with shareholders, with targets to hit, with government telling them what they can build and what they cannot build. And right now, Europe is in the middle of the biggest automotive shift in history. By 2035, the European Union, they want to do away with retro cars. Ferrari had a choice. They were supposed to keep building the V8 and slowly get taxed, fined, and regulated into a corner, or evolve. So they evolved. They took a 3-liter twin-turbo V6. They paired it with an electric motor, and together they came up with 830 horsepower, more than the V8 it replaced. It had more torque, faster acceleration, better lap time, and on paper the V6 hybrid is a better car. But here's the thing about Ferrari buyers. They're not buying numbers. They're buying a feeling, a story, an identity. And there's no story that you can give to these people to convince them that the V6 is better than V8. So let's go back to this hybrid V6. So when it was launched, they took it to the road for a test drive. Journalists drove it, owners drove it, and something unexpectedly happened. They fell in love with it. Okay, not immediate, but somehow they fell in love with it. Here's the thing. When you pressed that acceleration on this car, it moved like nothing else on the road. And that was something to take note of. It recently lined up against a Porsche 911 Turbo S, a car with 4-wheel drive, which has a 711 horsepower, a German machine indeed. The Ferrari actually beat it. The V6 hybrid, it beat the Porsche, and that is when the argument started to shift, because you can hate the idea of something, but when you see it winning, it becomes hard to even stay mad. The 296 GTB sounds different from the V8, yes, but it still sounds alive. It still feels like something you would sell your kidney for. Maybe Ferrari did not betray their fans after all. Maybe they just did what Ferrari has always done. They found a way to win under the new rules with new tools. So making an hybrid car, it was a clever move. Enzo Ferrari never cared about tradition for its own sake. All he cared about was one thing, being the best. And right now, this V6 is the best version of that idea. The real question is not whether Ferrari made the right call. The real question is, what comes next? Because if a V6 hybrid can do this, imagine what a fully electric car will feel like.